from the Connie Forum, a building that opened back in 1988, doubles as the home of the Boston College hockey team. Champions in the NCAA 2 seasons ago. BC will be in the white. Virginia Tech is in the orange. And Boston College coming off an impressive win Thursday on this very floor against Clemson. 59-57, shooting 50% for that game to get to victory. But the opening tap controlled by the Hokies.
You see immediately Boston College coming out in their stifling man-to-man. They're going to try to make Virginia Tech have to get points difficultly in the half-court set.
This is Rankin making his second start of the season. Again, Eric Green out with a sprained knee. Suffered in practice earlier this week as Virginia Tech lost on Tuesday against Florida State, 63-59. And they shot 30% in that game. Out of bounds back to the Hokies. Seth Greenberg in his 9th season on the bench for Virginia Tech. 165 career victories as the head coach of Virginia Tech. Second most wins in school history. He's got 378 overall. So far his team is 0 for 2 from the floor, but a foul on the play. It appears it'll be on Boston College. Across the way it is Steve Donahue's second season here at the Heights. He's 27-23. His 12th year overall, 173 career victories, and had great success at Cornell. Took him to the Sweet 16 in 2010. This is Eddie for 3. And now it's 0 for 3 for Virginia Tech.
But neither of these teams have been bashful coming out. They've let the ball fly quickly. And both of these teams like to work their offense a little bit, but they've gotten quick shots in both possessions.
Virginia Tech 44% as a team on the season. That is 8th in the ACC. Boston College 42%, and they get the miss inside from Clifford. Rankin will reset it. No score in the early going. Virginia Tech 11-5 on the season, but 0-2 in conference play. Hudson seemed to be in rhythm, but again came up empty.
Before jump shots early in this game for Virginia Tech, nothing attacking the basket. And that's one of the things that Coach Greenberg wants to make sure that they don't settle for jump shots on every possession.
Here's Clifford. Driving Humphrey, lost control, out of bounds. It will stay with the BC Eagles.
Get a shot of Eric Green, who's sitting out this game with a sprained LCL ligament, I believe, and he's a huge part of this Virginia Tech team, the leading scorer, leading assist guy, and of course he leads them in minutes. So, and their veteran leadership. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play without him.
Jordan Daniels has the first points of the ball game for Boston College.
Jordan Daniels starting off like he did against Clemson, knocked down 3 3-pointers against Clemson here on Thursday night. And you see these young players from Boston College, they feel a lot more comfortable playing at home.
Daniels 31% from beyond the arc, connecting there for his 15th of the season. Corey mentioned Eric Green on the bench. He averages over 16 points per game, 6th best of the ACC. So you've got 16 points sitting on that Hokie bench, trying to work inside. Davila!
I believe Virginia Tech has an advantage there with Davila, and Davila is a guy who hasn't had double-figure field goal attempts in a game yet this year. Yet he's a senior and a young man who is really capable of scoring down there, and without Eric Green, they may try to exploit that a little more.
And Davila shoots a great percentage from the floor, 52%. He's got the first bucket for the Hokies. Here's Clifford. Lonnie Jackson drew a double team. Daniels again. Hudson will run it up for the Hokies. Took it right to the rim. Did not have his teammates in tow, but he decided to go to the rim.
And a great push by Dorenzo Hudson, but as you see, Davila getting an opportunity on the block. And Davila is so strong, and understanding that Clifford can't move with him laterally, the up and under getting to his left hand. Great move by Victor Davila. Now, Virginia Tech, if they can exploit that a little more often, that will open things up for their shooters on the perimeter.
Dorenzo Hudson at the free throw line. A senior from Charlotte, North Carolina. Patrick Heckman, who leads Boston College in scoring, comes in. Matt Humphrey will leave. Heckman brings in 10.5 points per game to the lineup for BC. Hudson is 1 of 2. 88% from the line for Hudson, 5th in the conference.
And this is what it sets up. Virginia Tech's full court pressure, and that's how they get out in transition.
Lonnie Jackson into the teeth of the defense, swatted away there by Davila. Rankin off balance, ripped down by Anderson. Boston College has a 3-on-1. Clifford will finish it.
A transition basket for Boston College, and it's interesting to see, and a careless turnover on the part of Jarrell Eddy, throwing the ball to Dorian Finney-Smith, who was running back down the court. Marquise Rankin, the point guard, has to go back and get the ball on that one, but Jarrell Eddy having to understand who to get the ball to, and you see Marquise Rankin pushing the ball well, but then on the other side, Jordan Daniels getting the ball to Dennis Clifford, running the floor well, and finishing it with a two-hand dunk. The more points Boston College can get in transition, the better for them.
Anderson. Here's Finney-Smith, up and under. Didn't get the rim roll, and Clifford pulled it down. Heckman, low. Anderson used his body well and scores.
And Anderson ran the floor very well, understanding he had a smaller defender under the basket, sealed well, great pass by Heckman, getting another easy 2 points for Boston College.
First basket of the game for Ryan Anderson, the freshman from Lakewood, California. Boston College has won the last 3 meetings between the teams. Here is Hudson on the baseline. Too strong, and Anderson has it again.
And as you see that, a great job by Anderson going after the rebound, but an air ball by Lorenzo Hudson. He's not really playing with a lot of confidence right now. Hasn't shot the ball well recently, but Virginia Tech's going to need much more production from him, especially with Eric Green sitting out this one.
Clifford on the block. Trying to go around Davila. And Rankin stepped in the passing lane. Really, that turnover started by the defense from Davila on the interior.
It really was, and Davila can hold his ground against Clifford. Clifford would have a tough time trying to power through Davila. He's going to have to use his size advantage to be able to get jump hooks over top of him.
Virginia Tech shooting just 12% so far in the game and trailing 7-3 to the Eagles. Davila, power dribble.
And although Virginia Tech's not shooting it well, that young man is 2 for 2. So maybe that's the formula for this game against Boston College. Victor Davila has 4 of the Virginia Tech 5 points, and he's 2 for 2 from the field. They need to exploit that more often.
Clifford chases it down. Boston College 6-10 on the season. They're 1-1 in conference play, 5-5 on the season here at Connie Forum. Here is Clifford again, aggressively to the rim, and he's called for the offensive foul.
Victor Davila taking advantage of every opportunity he gets to put the ball in the glass, doing a great job at the right-hand jump hook, getting Virginia Tech 2. Charge, the restricted area line circle has been expanded from 3 feet from 2 feet last year. Marquise Rankin doing a great job getting his feet outside of it and picking up a foul, taking away an easy 2 points from Dennis Clifford.
So Clifford now on the bench for Boston College. Number 5, Casey Caudle, has come in for BC in white, Virginia Tech in the orange. Virginia Tech trying to respond after the loss to Florida State on Tuesday. They went just 2 of 12 from 3-point range, and they are so far in this game 0 for 2, and they lose the ball out of bounds back to the Eagles.
And great defense by Gabe Moten, who's checked in now for Boston College. And Gabe Moten, one of the few veterans. He and John Cowell also in the game. The 2 of the veterans from last year's team. And you talk about Boston College, all the newcomers they have, they pretty much have to wear name tags in practice every now and then.
Caudle tried to make the move inside against Sedarian Raines, but Raines got a piece of Caudle. That's the first on Sedarian Raines.
Caudle, another freshman, of course, for Steve Donahue's bunch. And we talk about, the youth and inexperience that they have. But Coach Donahue, and talking to him before the game, he loves this group and how coachable they are. Because he has to basically show everything to them. He has to teach them how to sit on the bench, how to meet, everything that he is starting all over with this program, but he's enjoying the process.
12 new players in uniform for Boston College this season. Simply amazing. Easily one of the youngest teams in all of NCAA basketball. But a great confidence-boosting victory on Thursday here at the Connie Forum against Clemson. Had to fight off the Tigers down the stretch in that one and got 41 points from the bench in the victory.
And also hit 8 3-pointers, which is the key to their success.
Rankin is open. That was a 2-pointer. Comes off to Anderson, who has been an absolute beast on the boards early for the Eagles. Heckman stumbles and then commits the foul.
And it's interesting watching Heckman out here, and Heckman has been questionable. He's having back issues, and even in shoot-around this morning, you know, he wasn't able to go 100%. I mean, he's a very good three-point shooter, but because it's putting so much strain on him physically, you know, he's not 100% and probably will be held out. However, he's playing because his mom is here from Germany. So you got to be here when mom is playing.
There's our State Farm player profile. Dorenzo Hudson checks back into the game. Hudson so far with a single point, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. And got to perform in front of the parents. That's key.
No question about it.
Backing down Barksdale. And now John Cal is clutching his right shoulder.
That does not look good. When you see someone holding their shoulder that way, and they're going to take him immediately to the bench. I thought he was going to lock him, but that does not look good, and especially for a guy like John Cal, who's a shooter. The right heat. And he's in a lot of pain. You can see him on the bench over there. I've had that injury. That's no fun at all.
John Cal, a great story, a walk-on prior to last season. He is a graduate on this year's team, but obviously in some severe pain. He will be taken back to the BC dressing room and attended to by the Boston College medical staff. So we'll check on the status of Cal. BC with the basketball. This is Gabe Moten, number 1. Tapped around and taken by the Hokies. Hudson up ahead to Finney-Smith, saves it, but to BC, and the Eagles stepped on the line attempting to save the basketball.
Get a look at John Cal, who comes over for in just a freak injury, and that looks like, and I'm no doctor, but it looks like a separated or dislocated shoulder right there. And just by reaching in, and at times it's just something where your bone just slips out of place. But man, that looked painful.
Just an awkward angle on the play as Cal tried to swipe that ball away.
Yeah. Not huge contact or anything.
Brown forcing the issue. And a foul against Boston College. It'll be against Lonnie Jackson. So we'll take a timeout. BC with the lead over the Hokies, 8-7 in the first half. Here it is. Which current player leads the ACC in consecutive games with a 3-point field goal? Think about that, the Toyota trivia question of our game. 3-pointers playing a big role in the Boston College success so far this season. Almost 8 per game, 3rd best in the ACC.
Tied for 2nd after their performance the other night against Clemson. They got 8, and they actually tied Miami for 2nd now. So, and that's going to be crucial for them because Virginia Tech takes away the 3-pointer. Virginia Tech is number 3 in the country as far as 3-point field goal percentage defense. I asked Coach Greenberg about that, and he understands that the key to the success of Boston College is getting out behind that line, so they're going to be very cognizant of trying to take that away.
Virginia Tech now 2 of 4 from the free throw line, a strength of this Hokies team, 75% of the season. And they are 2nd in the conference from the free throw line. Moten. Humphrey. Foul against Jarrell Eddy for Virginia Tech. That's his first. Daniels and Anderson come back into the game.
Got to spend a little time with Ron Anderson this morning, just talking to him. And Dick Kelly, the SID here at Boston College, just says that he is the greatest kid on earth. Honestly, he just loves him, and he talks about this group very well. And on cue, Ron Anderson ain't a bad basketball player either. Nice little jump hook on the block, and he's a lot longer than you would think he is. Listed at 6'8", but he's standing over top of guys who are also listed at 6'8". So a tremendous talent and someone I believe they have opportunity to build this program around.
4 points now for Anderson in the first half. Boston College with a 2-point lead. Hudson with the answer.
Big for Dorenzo Hudson, and that's how he made his way to a 3rd-team All-ACC player. 2 years ago, was coming off screens, knocking down shots, but you could tell he's searching for confidence and trying to find his way back into this team, especially after sitting out as a redshirt last year with a foot injury.
Hudson's a senior from Charlotte, North Carolina. Put up 31 points against Florida International earlier this season. Most by a Hokie this year. Jackson freed up with the dribble but missed the shot. And Anderson cleans it up. Spin move from Brown and a double dribble.
Brown trying to force the action a little bit, and you do not have an advantage there. That's one of the scenarios where you have to be able to pull it out. But as you see, Lonnie Jackson with the jump shot, one freshman, another one getting in the mix. Ryan Anderson filling it up and coming in with a two-handed dunk. And, of course, he asked me today, is this game going to be on TV? I told him, of course it was. You're in the ACC now. He says, well, I'm sure my mom can see it. She bought every possible package you can imagine to see games.
Anderson from Lakewood, California. And a foul against Virginia Tech on the drive by Matt Humphrey. First on Davila. Humphrey at the line. As Anderson and head coach Steve Donahue have a quick chat.
And Humphrey, a transfer from Oregon who sat out last year but was able to practice and be a part of the team. And, you know, he took a while getting adjusted to what it was Coach Donahue wanted him to do. He knew he was a veteran player and almost had a sense of entitlement, I'm sure, and came in and was taking a lot of questionable shots early. But Coach Donahue's been very pleased with his progress as far as the way he's gelled into a member of this team.
Humphrey came off the bench to score 9 points and grab 4 rebounds in the win Thursday against Clemson for BC. Rankin misses. Fresh shot clock for Virginia Tech.
See C.J. Barksdale with the offensive rebound. He actually had 4 against Florida State. 4 offensive rebounds, 0 defensive rebounds. So you can tell that he's definitely, you know, he knows how to attack an offensive glass. They're going to need him to be better on the defensive side of it.
Traveling against the Hokies, back to BC. Casey Caudill back into the game to give Clifford a breather for BC. Dennis Clifford with 2 points had a dunk on a beautiful feed by Jordan Daniels on a 3-on-1 attack for BC, and here is Daniels. Another good feed inside. Virginia Tech recovers defensively and turns over the Eagles. Rankin all the way to the basket. Follow jam from Victor Davila.
Offensive rebounding, and the Hokies attack the glass, you know, relentlessly. And you look at who they have out there. When you talk about Davila, Finney-Smith, and Barksdale, they're all very good rebounders, and so BC is going to have to be cognizant of where they are the entire possession.
Humphrey, Finney-Smith. Foul on the play, and the move by Barksdale.
Marquise Rankin pushing the ball very well to the glass, and that can often be your best offense. When you can't make it, get it high enough for it to rim off for the offensive players to be able to go get the basketball. And Victor Davila, great timing, going up and over the rim and able to finish it with 2 hands.
So Barksdale at the free throw line, 78% on the season for Barksdale. There's John Cal.
John Cal back on the bench. That's never a good sign when you got it in the sling, and the ice on there. But that's a great teammate. He's not sitting in the locker room, you know, concerned about himself. He comes back out to support his teammates on the bench.
Barksdale misses them both. Boston College 4-3 in its last 7 games. That win against Clemson on Thursday, stopping a 3-game losing streak for the Eagles at a foul against Virginia Tech.
Foul on Marquise Rankin. He's going to have to be, you know, wary of his fouls today because, of course, without Eric Green, he's the only true point guard on the roster for Virginia Tech right now. And they're probably going to have to play Hudson at some point, and the opportunity also to maybe get Dorian Finney-Smith minutes at the point.
Jackson. A wide open Clifford makes no mistake.
Great penetration by Jackson, tossing out to Clifford. And Clifford, a very good shooter, actually shot a 3 against Clemson. That's one of the things that BC's staff has been encouraging him to do, to actually take shots from the outside.
Turnaround is good from Victor Davila, showing off his skills.
More success for Davila on the block, scoring at will down there. And when you're talking about a senior versus a freshman, the strength factor really becomes important when you have to guard somebody on the post.
Davila from Canovanas, Puerto Rico, went to high school in North Carolina at Starmount High School, northwest of Winston-Salem. And a foul on the play is against Virginia Tech. That is against Rankin, and that's his second. Here from the Connie Forum, Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. And our O'Charlie's fan of the game, there he is wearing that Patriots jersey, as the Patriots get ready tonight to take on the Denver Broncos. Not far from here in Foxborough, Massachusetts, as the playoffs crank up in the NFL. He's an interested onlooker this afternoon. He'll probably watch this game and go watch the Patriots and see how they do tonight in this monster day in Boston sports.
I love the hair, personally. That's the best part of the outfit.
And the Tom Brady jersey.
As we talked about, Dorenzo Hudson now manning the point for Virginia Tech, with Marquise Rankin picking up his second foul, and he'll probably have to sit the majority of this 7:15 left in the first half.
Rankin had been 0 for 5 from the floor in the first half. Victor Davila is perfect 4 for 4, and he makes a power move and draws the foul.
Well, I tell you what, Seth Greenberg's an intelligent guy. He draws up his first play to get Victor Davila an opportunity at the rim right here. He's already 4 for 4. And the opportunity to get free throws, but you see a pick and roll and get him up. You know, had the defender squared his body, he maybe would have had an opportunity to be able to get over there. Eddie Odio came over with his shoulder into Davila, which will get you a foul every time. But had he squared, he was outside of the restricted lane, may have had a chance to get the offensive foul.
The Jack in the Box quick stats. Virginia Tech trying to convert on those turnovers by Boston College, which is working well on the offensive glass rather, for BC. But right now, Virginia Tech has taken the lead, 16-15 for Davila. First lead of the game for Virginia Tech. And a turnover.
That was greatly designed, just poorly executed. And all the staff at BC has talked about Odio's ability to jump. And they run a play immediately out of the timeout in order to get him a lob, and just wasn't unable to handle the pass. But bad execution, but great design.
Gabe Moten picked up the foul for Boston College. Virginia Tech in the bonus. Hudson now with 4.
And this is where Hudson has been great all year from the free throw line. And when you talk about Eric Green, Hudson, and Jarrell Eddy, they're 3 of the top free throw shooters in the ACC. Jarrell Eddy doesn't have enough, enough free throw attempts in order to be considered. But those guys are all shooting it well in the high 80s, and I think Eddy may even be in the 90s.
Jarrell Eddy is listed at 89%. He's made 31 of 35 free throw attempts this season.
He's got to get that. And he's also making 52% of his three-pointers. He just doesn't have enough attempts to be counted. So you got to find him some more shots.
So Hudson now has 5 points. Virginia Tech with a 3-point lead. Jackson tried to look low to Clifford. Didn't happen. Now Clifford gets it on the block. Drew some attention, but scored anyway.
And that's nice. And we talked about how he would not be able to overpower Davila, but his size advantage, he can still get off that jump hook.
Traveling against the Hokies.
Gabe Moten knowing where the ball should go, and you see Davila can put the pressure on him, but still with his size, Clifford able to finish with the nice left-handed jump hook. A lost art in the game today, guys being able to shoot the jump hook. Back in my post days, I used to shoot a couple of jump hooks or two.
Back in the mid-90s in Charlottesville, Virginia, for Corey Alexander and the Cavaliers. From the corner, it's a 3 for Gabe Moten.
That's where BC finds their success, and they can stretch out the defense. And Coach Greenberg talked about how well they do that. They stretch you out to create some penetrating lanes, penetrating kick for wide open threes, and that's how they can be successful.
The Eagles have scored the last 5 points to take the lead, and it's Hudson driving with the left hand.
Strong take by Dorenzo Hudson, getting to the rim, and they're going to need more of that, especially with Eric Green out and Rankin in foul trouble. Hudson attacking the rim, getting opportunities there, and also creating offensive rebound opportunities.
Tied at 20. Under 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. Clifford. Humphrey tried to work off of that Clifford screen. Shot clock is at 7. Odio must get it up on the rim. Does so and got fouled. Davila picked up his second as Odio drove the basket.
And if you're Virginia Tech, you never want this foul because there's only 2 seconds left on the shot clock. You want to just stand strong, make him have to finish over top of you. With a veteran like Davila, he should understand that one. But at the same time, in the heat of action, a lot of times, especially as you get tired, you make those silly fouls.
Robert Brown coming back in for Virginia Tech, joined by Sedarian Raines.
And that was Davila picking up his second foul, so it makes that foul even worse now because he's been having so much success on the offensive end. He has to go sit down for the rest of the first half.
Odio does not have a lot of experience at the free throw line. With those 2, just 9 attempts for the season, and he's made only 3. Three-pointer rattles out there from Eddie. Boston College playing 7 of its last 8 games here at Connie Forum, where they are 5-5 this season. From the corner, Humphrey. Odio tried to save it and did so. Humphrey to the rack. Hudson. Ripped down by Humphrey. Steve Donahue wants to slow it down.
Steve Donahue does not want to get in a track meet with Virginia Tech, and he talked about his strategy against Clemson. And knowing that they love to score in transition, he wanted to take that away from them. And the same thing applies here against the Hokies. He does not want to have to race them up and down the court. He feels that with their experience and their athletes, they would be better at that game.
Boston College leads the overall series 13-7. They've won 3 in a row. Moten again. Hudson almost lost the dribble as he crossed the midcourt stripe. Victor Davila leading Virginia Tech in scoring with 10. Dorenzo Hudson has 7. And Seth Greenberg wants a timeout.
Coach Greenberg did not like their offensive execution, and of course I believe he had something called that wasn't executed originally, but in understanding that he does not have a point guard out there. Dorenzo Hudson is a shooting guard, as is Robert Brown, and then of course when you look at Dorian Finney-Smith, more of a small forward. So he doesn't have a true point guard out there, and he's going to have to really kind of scale back some of his offensive sets in order to be able to execute here at this part of the game for the last 3:37 that they have to play without Marquise Rankin on the floor.
Seth Greenberg's team has been so close to the NCAA tournament the last 3 years, instead going to the NIT, their last appearance in the NCAA. Coming back in 2007, they had that marquee victory on February 26 when they defeated #1 Duke 64-60.
I could be biased, but I think for the last 3 years they should have gotten in, especially last year. And I was there actually at the game in the ACC tournament where the two last-second shots being made, and still I thought that was enough to get them in. But you know, NCAA committee deciding differently.
Foul on the play, score the basket from Sedarian Raines.
Great call out of timeout by Seth Greenberg, getting his big guys rolling to the basket, finishing.
The senior for the Hokies, a seat on the bench here with 3:27 to go in the first half. Tom Wormy, Corey Alexander, our outstanding ACC production crew here in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, on the campus of Boston College, and the three-point play, old school style, from Sedarian Raines. Daniels. Clifford. Stolen. Great hands from Eddie along the baseline. Raines might have deserved a better fate after that move. Got it back and scored.
And Virginia Tech has truly been dominant on the offensive boards against BC here this afternoon, and Clifford having a tough time keeping these athletes of Virginia Tech, Davila and Cedarian Raines, even Barksdale, off the glass.
Lonnie Jackson ran into some trouble. Clifford trying to bail him out. Clifford backing down.
Raines' strength made that a tough shot. There was nowhere for Clifford to go, and just kind of bailed out and threw up a shot because he couldn't gain any ground on Raines because of his strength.
Biggest lead of the game for Virginia Tech, up 25-20 as we approach 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Here is Brown. Grazes the front of the rim, and it's an easy board for Clifford.
And again, you see Coach Donahue put his hand up. He wants to make a call. He wants to slow his team down. Does not want to give Virginia Tech an opportunity to get up and down the floor and start playing in transition.
Talked about that marquee win by Virginia Tech last year. Their next game was against Boston College, and BC won it. Last meeting between the teams, March 1st of last year, 76-61. That at Virginia Tech. Will they score the hoop? So a foul against Virginia Tech. And that is Humphrey at the free throw line. Coming up on our State Farm halftime report, Andre Aldridge, Mike Glenn, Stinger from the Atlanta studio. They'll have the highlights of North Carolina, Florida State, and North Carolina State and Wake Forest. Florida State, the team that defeated Virginia Tech on Tuesday. How about Bernard James in that game? He had 18 points, 15 rebounds, both teams team highs, and Florida State blocked 15 shots in that game.
Well, no pun intended, but he's a grown man.
Wow.
The fact that he's 26, 27 years old, and he plays like it, no question about it, but he's been a great, citizen, of course, and serving in our United States Air Force, but just as well, he's been a great young man at Florida State for them and a very good basketball player.
Heckman fouled by Brown. So Heckman, who's the leading scorer for Boston College, over 10 points per game, has not scored yet, but earns a trip to the free throw line.
And Heckman, definitely a versatile player when you look at his size, but still able to push the ball down the floor, get to the rim, and of course, he fits the mold of a German player, a guy who's very skilled at his size. And of course, when you see many of the European players come to the United States and play, they're longer, but at the same time, they have guard-like skills, and Heckman definitely fits into that role.
Barksdale in the game. Robert Brown leaves with 1 point.
And you can tell Heckman is still, he's a little gimpy out there. This is a guy who went out and put up 32 points against UC Riverside as a freshman. So I don't care what year you are. You can score 32, you can score.
And that was an OT win for Boston College, 66-61 earlier this season. Eddie has to give it up to Hudson. 1 minute to go in the first half. Shot clock inside of 10 for the Hokies. Hudson gliding to the rim. He's got 9.
And if you're Coach Greenberg, you love the way Dorenzo Hudson is attacking the rim and not settling for all jump shots. Doing a great job putting pressure on Boston College's defense.
Boston College will call a timeout. 47.2 seconds to
the floor. And Dorenzo Hudson is a young man who's been known to be able to score, was third-team All-ACC 2 years ago, and at the same time, a guy that went out and put up 41 points 2 years ago against Seton Hall. But without his running mate, Eric Green, as we see here in the sweatsuit, he's going to have to take on a much stronger role here this afternoon.
Eric Green with a knee sprain earlier this week in practice, coming off of that loss for Virginia Tech on Tuesday to Florida State. Jordan Daniels.
And I love the way these coaches are going at it out of their timeouts. Great execution by Boston College, coming out of timeout and not only getting it to a point to where they can attack the basket, but the kick out for 3.
Jordan Daniels now 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. Cedarian Raines the miss, Caudle the rebound.
Caudle has a little more size to be able to fight with those guys as far as his girth on the block. Doesn't move as well as Clifford, but did a great job making him have to take a tough shot.
Final seconds, clock down to 1. Floater up there by Daniels. Score the basket. Jordan Daniels gets a rise out of this County Forum crowd as he beats the buzzer.
And he's a little diminutive, but at the same time, he's got some stuff with him. A little crafty floater from about 16 feet. And you love to see that from the little guys, knowing how to shoot it. We used to call it the giant killer. Get it right over top of the big fella.
So Daniels with a couple of three-point baskets, and then